It's the best job I've ever had, actually, because all I had to do was drink a load of beer and wine and make fatuous comments as a way to spur Oz the expert into telling us everything that was important.
But what does an average week of food look like for you? Like, are you someone who has to try something different every week, or do you kind of cycle through the same 6 meals every
No,
week?
I don't. I don't do that cycling through. When I was a student, we lived in a house with a load of people, and there was one bloke there. He was from Preston. Maybe that explains it. But he said, "Oh, we'll buy all the food communally, so it'll all chip in together because that's more economical, and we'll have a food plan." And he drew it up and put it on the wall, and he had specific things for each day. So Monday was something like a pork chop with mashed potato and peas, and Tuesday was chicken and mushroom pie with beans and radishes or tripe, and that's how he'd grown up. He had the same thing every Tuesday. There was a Tuesday supper, and that's what you had. And I said, "Well, this is ridiculous. What was his name? Roland." I said, "We can just mix it up a bit, you know." And he said, "No, it's Tuesday. It's chicken and mushroom pie day." So no, I don't do that, but I don't necessarily feel obliged to do something new all the time. At the moment, we're eating quite healthily because it's sort of lockdown, and well, let's be honest, because we're all a bit bored. It's, make an effort to prepare nice food and eat healthily. I honestly believe, I shouldn't say this because, I work for, partly own FoodTribe, and I've made a cooking show and done a cookbook, but I still believe that you have to be very careful that foodieism isn't merely an expression of boredom, because when you're obsessively into something in the way you are when you're a teenager, building bicycles or painting pictures or, learning to play the guitar or whatever it is you're doing, eating is actually just an inconvenience because you want to get on with the thing that you're doing. So you want quick, easy food that you can shove in your face, preferably not create any washing up. Then you can get back to the thing you really love. I think once you start spending too long worrying about what you're eating, you have become old. And that's something I notice about age. I'm now 58 as of a few weeks ago. I'm very quickly getting to that point in my life when I think about the next meal, like my mum and dad do.
I mean, I also do that as well, to be fair.
Yeah, but we've established that you're weird. You're
Yeah,
only
that is true.
23, but that part of your brain is in its 50s or 60s.
Yeah, okay, fine, I'll take that.
But I'm not knocking enthusiasm for food. I think it's an important subject. Obviously, it's what sustains us. And I have taken extra interest in it recently and learned a lot of things. But sometimes I worry that, I should just be grabbing a fish finger sandwich and returning to whatever great work I'm doing. But I'm not doing
Toiling those
great work.
fields.
I'm making another Airfix model for YouTube. That's
Nice.
it.
This is a complete different tangent, but how did your shows with Oz Clarke come about? And did you know Oz before filming, and are you still in touch with him now?
I'm definitely still in touch with him now. I was talking to him yesterday, in fact. I didn't know Oz before that, although I knew of him. He's quite a bit older than me. He's hundreds of years old now. When we were sort of student age, me and my mate Paul used to do Oz Clarke impersonations whenever we had a glass of wine, which wasn't that often because we were poor, obviously. But if we did have one, one of us would always hold it up and go, "Fruit," which is what Oz used to do on the food and drink show. No, he used to do fruit.
Nice.
You probably only said it once, to be honest. But anyway, we cottoned on to it. So the reason we did that show was because it was actually the production company that came up with the idea, and they simply approached me and they said, "Have you heard of Oz Clarke? Would you like to do this show about wine?" And they didn't really get the idea quite right. They had it that Oz was a sophisticate and I was a yobbo, and that Oz would be listening to opera. Oz is into opera, as it happens, but that I would keep commandeering the music thing, what it would have been, CD player in those days, in the car and putting on a lot of death metal. And I said, "Well, that's not true. So you'll just have to leave us alone to do it as it happens," which they did, in fairness, and that's what we did. It's the best job I've ever had, actually, because all I had to do was drink a load of beer and wine and make fatuous comments as a way to spur Oz the expert into telling us everything that was important.
That's got to be a dream job, right?
It was a complete riot. People say, "Oh, you've got the best job in the world, driving cars on the Grand Tour." I think, no, that's the second best job in the world. The best job in the world was traveling around Europe and America with Oz Clarke.
Nice.
The drinks are always perfect because he's an expert.
I was watching the little clip earlier of him every time he pronounces Viognier, just going super, super French with it. And then
Oh
obviously
yeah,
you'd had a few glasses of wine between you, but
yeah,
it's so
yes.
good.
The original, I don't know where the original rushes of that are, but the whole thing goes on for about 45 minutes, and it gets really out of hand because he starts getting quite angry, and I can't hold the camera anymore because I'm too pissed and laughing too much.
It was
But it
amazing.
was
Would you
excellent.
would you do another one?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't want any more though.
I find that strange because yeah, it was so popular and everyone loved it, and the dynamic
TV
between you
hates
two
me
was
in
great.
part of it. They don't really like me.
No, not true, I'm sure.
Oh, I think it is. But anyway, we
And
did three. They were good.
how did you end up on a similar vein on Gordon Ramsay's The F Word as well? And were you surprised to beat him in the fish pie stakes, or did you always know that you were going to win?
No, no, no. I mean, there was nothing set up about it. I actually spoke to Gordon Ramsay on messages a few weeks back, just before Christmas actually. And I did say to him, look, because I've done this cooking show, the old fish pie contest has been mentioned a lot, and I'm sorry about that. And I admitted to him, and it is after over a decade. I actually thought his was much nicer because I did try them both, and mine was a bit, it's a bit stodgy and it's a bit sort of bechamel-y, whereas Gordon's has got very fluffy potato on the top, and the sauce is much more fishy rather than milky, and it's just a much more sophisticated taste. But those women sitting at that table thought otherwise, and their decision is final. So I won by 3 points to two, I think.
Not that you've kept that score in your mind over all these
No,
years.
I haven't thought about it for years, apart from mentioning it in my book.
Nice. I feel like you
But
have
he's
to
okay. He just thinks it's funny.
yeah, I feel like you need to take two, like a decade on, a new
Fish
fish
pie
pie,
again.
or maybe something different.
I mean, I've refined the fish pie quite a bit since that one. I mean, the fish pie in my cookbook is quite different from the one I made on the F Word.
Ah, I thought it was going to be like the recipe.
Yeah, yes, I've said it is, but I mean, it is the same, but it's a refinement thereof.
Mhm.
It's not quite
Elements of
so
Gordon in there.
flaggy,
Mhm. Nice. And what's next for you? Have you got any big plans for 2021, world allowing, or just gonna crack on with all the many things you're already doing with your house and your pub and everything?
Oh yeah, I'm going to have to do something about the pub. Well, actually, no, we just have to wait for such time as we can reopen the pub, and then we say to Yorkshire Chris, "Hey, Yorkshire Chris, get on with running the pub again." Because when it is open, he does a great job. So I'm not really worried about it. It's just it's a bit costly whilst it's sitting there not selling any food or drink. But we knew that. I've got to do the ground tour, obviously, when we're allowed to. We're planning that. I would like to do another cooking show, and I want to do another Our Man Inn. But to be honest, by the time I've done that lot, I'll be ready for the bath chair. So
I'll keep you busy then.
I've been asked to write another cookbook, but I might just have to kill myself instead.
No, the first one's been so successful though.
I know, but I'm not sure I've got another one in me. That's everything I've ever known in that book.
Okay. We can watch this space. An entire spam cookbook.
Been done.
Uh,
I don't actually eat it that often.
no, I know.
I quite like spam, and it's funny. And, you can do amusing things with it, but it's not. People think I eat it every day. I eat it probably
Yeah, your
once
your
every
entire
couple of
diet is spam
months.
and beans, right?
Yeah, exactly. For
Yeah.
breakfast, yeah, spam and beans in the middle of the night. Spam and beans, spam and beans. But no, it's a treat. It's like the caviar of the people. Spam.
Uh-huh.
You
I
don't
feel
like
like
it,
I'm
do
still
you?
yet to be convinced, but
You don't like spam.
well, first and only time I've ever tried it was when you, well, made me cook up some spam and beans.
Is that the only time you've eaten spam?
Yeah.
Have you eaten spam, Lucy Brown, since you're here watching us?
The same as Rachel. I only ever had it in the bunker when you guys made it.
I'm just out of touch with the young people.
No.
I know I
Apparently they
should
still
have.
eat a lot in Hawaii.
Apparently they do, yes, and always have done. I don't know why that is. Something to do with the war, probably. Most things are when it comes
Yep.
to spam. I suppose, if I was more in touch, I'd know that you'd want a meal deal rye bread sandwich with a packet of crisps poured in it and then squashed down with the palm of your hand and then drunk with a energy drink. Am I roughly right?
I'm assuming that was at Lucy and not me.
It was more at Lucy than at you, yes.
Yep, that sounds about right.
Mm.
There we go. And on that note, that was everything I was hoping to have a chat with you about, James.
Well, good. And you've done very well not to drink your wine while
I know.
I'm going to look at my watch to see
There's
that
still loads left. It's nearly time for you to have a glass as well.
No, that's absolutely banging, Rachel, because you've concluded this at 6:01, which means I could go and open that bottle of beer. I'll probably save it for another hour or so, but I could. That's the important thing.
What's your beer of choice?
See, again, at the moment, I've got a bottle of London Pride and a bottle of Doombar outside in the cool because they don't want to be too cold because they're bitters. So, the flavour would disappear. But in the fridge, I've got a couple of Indian lagers, Cobras, and I have is it Czech or Polish? There's one with a sort of red label. I can never remember what it's called or how to pronounce it. I think it's Polish. It's a Polish lager, which is very dry and quite harsh, but a really great, robust sort of industrial beer flavour. The beer for people who get things done.
I will leave you to go and get your beer then.
Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy your glass of expensive red wine.
Not expensive.
I bet it was.